Yo, Claressa Shields, the GWOT, the most decorated woman in boxing, just went on live radio to fight for a man who got caught acting stunned over the price of a lollipop. $1. One single dollar had this man doing math in public like he was applying for a loan. And while she's out here defending his pockets, the internet dug up that his estranged wife allegedly called him the brokest man she ever met. And Pap really thought flying her to Canada was gonna fix the optics? Bro woke up and chose violence, but against his own wallet. Before we get into it, subscribe, don't miss it, nah. Claressa Shields, the self-proclaimed GWOT, sat down on Atlanta Street's 94.5, the Streetz Morning Takeover, on July 30th, 2026, and unloaded a full defense of her man Papoose, the Brooklyn rapper still legally married to Remy Ma, insisting he is not somebody's husband. Meanwhile, social media is dragging Pap for a viral moment where he reportedly couldn't believe blow pops jumped to $1, and that quick little Canada getaway allegedly barely lasted a night. Pap clearly didn't think this through. Now let's look at the receipts that show why this man keeps embarrassing everybody attached to him. Alright, let's open the vault, because the quotes in this situation are absolutely unhinged, and I need you all to hear the exact word before we connect anything. First receipt. On the Streetz Morning Takeover on July 30th, 2026, the co-host MZ Shinika looked Claressa Shields dead in her face and asked her, "How much longer are you willing to be in a relationship with somebody's husband?" Now that is a fair question. And Claressa hit her with, "Well, pause, 'cause that's not somebody's husband. Papoose filed for divorce." You all hate to say that word, but it's the word that's out there. He filed for divorce because he's serious about me. When I heard this, I was like, hold on. Filed is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence. Champ. Filed and finalized are two different zip codes. Bro said he's serious, but is reportedly still collecting paperwork, not rings. She wasn't done though. She added, if you're going to call him her husband, make sure you call her his wife and also hold her accountable for what she's doing in her life. Nah, you can't say that and expect people to take you seriously, because Pap is out here acting like the victim while allegedly needing his estranged wife's money to breathe. That line right there, that's where the whole defense fell apart for me. Second receipt, and this one is the one that broke the internet. Reports circulating from Remy Ma's side, per her own statements making the rounds, claim Remy called Papoose the poorest man she's ever seen, and allegedly accused him of pawning her jewelry. The poorest man she's ever seen. Yo, Remy was locked up for almost 8 years and came home to build a whole career, and she's saying Pap is a broke one? When I read that, I had to do a double take. Is this man serious? You're allegedly pawning your wife's jewelry while your girlfriend defends your bank account on the radio? That's the dumbest flex I've ever heard. Third receipt. Claressa hopped online to defend Pap's pockets directly, reportedly firing back at fans with how he broke with 12 albums. Oh, sweetie. 12 albums. When I heard this, I was like, what? Streams from 2006 don't pay for steak dinners in 2026, champ. Having a catalog and having cash are two different things, and the fact that SHE has to be the one explaining his finances tells you everything. You ever seen Jay-Z's wife explain his money? Exactly. Fourth receipt. And this is the crown jewel, the one the whole title is built on. In the viral clip making the rounds, Papoose is reportedly seen acting stunned at the price of blow pops. The lollipops, shot up to $1 a pop. $1. A single solitary dollar had this man looking betrayed by the candy industry. Bro said what with his whole face. Meanwhile, his girlfriend is a 2-time Olympic gold medalist with championship belts and is the one fainting at the gas station register. That is embarrassing. And the fifth receipt, because this man stays busy. Back in April 2026, reports from a Breakfast Club's coverage say Papoose and Claressa's camp reportedly fired off a cease and desist at Remy Ma after she dropped that freestyle aimed at both of them. Imagine that. You can't afford a blow pop, but you can afford legal fees to quiet your wife down? Priorities all the way messed up. Now that we got the quotes, let's connect the dots. Okay, now this is where the story goes from messy to diabolical, because when you lay the timeline out flat, Papoose's whole strategy, or lack of one, becomes painfully obvious. Let's start from the top. Papoose and Remy Ma got married in 2008 while Remy was incarcerated, held a big televised ceremony in 2016, and had their daughter in 2018. They publicly confirmed the separation in 2023 after about 11 years of marriage. Fast forward to late 2024, December, to be exact, and Remy blows the whole thing open, exposing that Pap was involved with Claressa Shields while, according to her, they were still together. Pap fired back by accusing Remy of cheating with battle rapper Easy the Block Captain. Tit for tat. Messy on both sides. But here's what y'all didn't notice. That radio moment, it didn't just happen in a vacuum. It dropped in the same stretch where Pap got clowned for the Canada trip, an alleged quick getaway that reportedly barely lasted a night. I know Canada's expensive, but bro, if you got to turn around and come home in 24 hours, that's not a vacation. That's a layover. And it happened right around the time the broke narrative was already cooking. So instead of laying low and letting the story die, Pap pops out with a budget trip and a stunned face at the candy counter, pouring gasoline on a fire his own girlfriend was trying to put out. So Pap did this right when the internet was already questioning his pockets? That's terrible timing. Brew. Now let's talk about the money arrangement nobody wants to say out loud. Reports say Papoose actually won alimony from Remy Ma, whose net worth reportedly sits around $4 million, higher than his. Read that again. The man is reportedly positioned to receive payments from his estranged wife while his new girlfriend goes on the radio to insist he's not broke. You all didn't notice this though. If the man is set to collect alimony, that legally frames him as a financially weaker party. That's not me being messy. That's what alimony means. Any smart person would have kept his head down and let the checks clear. But Pap isn't smart. And the behind-the-scenes relationship web? Papoose spent years as Remy's hype man, her manager energy, the guy in her corner at every appearance. His entire public identity was built as Remy Ma's husband. So when he jumped ship to the biggest female box on the planet, it wasn't just a romance, it was a rebrand. He needed a new powerhouse to stand next to, and he found one with actual belts. Pap really thought nobody would connect these dots? That's when you know Pap doesn't have real advisors. Just vibes and a girlfriend willing to fight his battle for him. Literally, she's a professional fighter. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Now check this out. Nobody's talking about the language being used here. And once you hear it, you can't unhear it. First layer, zoom into ONE word from that radio exchange. Filed. Claressa leaned on filed for divorce like it was a championship belt. But here's a forensic catch. Filed is a process word, not a status word. She didn't say divorced. She didn't say single. She said filed. And then she had to follow it up with his serious about me, which is a verbal equivalent of a pinky promise. That phrasing tells me SHE knows the paperwork argument is weak, so she padded it with emotion. And Pap really didn't prep her better than that. He's been in media for 20 years and let his woman go on air armed with 1 week legal technicality. That's embarrassing. Second layer, the 12 albums defense. Listen to what she didn't say. She didn't say he just got a check. She didn't say he owns his masters. She pointed at a discography, work from the past, as proof of present wealth. That's a deflection pattern. When somebody defends your money by citing what you did decades ago instead of what's in your account right now, that's not a rebuttal. That's a eulogy for a bank account. If Pap had half a brain, he would have handed her ONE current receipt, a bag, a deal, anything, before letting her freestyle that answer. But he didn't, because there reportedly isn't one. Third layer, the blow pop freeze frame. Go watch that moment again and look at what it really captures. A man experiencing price shock at the lowest possible price point in the store. Not a car lot. Not a jewelry counter. The candy rack. Symbolically, that's devastating. Because the internet didn't catch him fumbling a mortgage. They caught him short-circuiting over pocket change. And notice the pattern. The Canada trip gets cut short, the lollipop math malfunctions, the alimony angle surfaces, every single data point points the same direction. That's not a coincidence, that's a financial fingerprint. Pap thought these moments were isolated. Nah. Brew, the internet keeps receipts in a spreadsheet. And the fourth layer, the biggest one, the cease and desist. Think about the symbolism of a man who presents himself as a battle-tested Brooklyn MC, a lyricist, responding to a rap freestyle with lawyers. Not bars. Lawyers. In hip-hop, that's the ultimate tell. When a rapper reaches for legal paperwork instead of pen, it means the truth in those bars hits somewhere he can't defend publicly. Every move Pap makes confirms the narrative is trying to kill, and is out here letting it all unfold while his girlfriend, an actual world champion, absorbs the hits for him like a human body shield. That's a problem with Pap. He doesn't read between the lines, and now his whole life is one long subliminal about being broke. Now let's see how the media covered this. So how did the outlets frame all this? Because the spin here is fascinating, and it tells you exactly who's winning the narrative war. Complex framed Claressa's radio run as defensive media moment. The headline energy was basically she's once again responding, and that word again is doing all the work. They are telling you, without telling you, that this woman is stuck in a loop, doing press about her boyfriend's marriage instead of her own fights. They pointed out the tension in the room when the somebody's husband question dropped, and they clocked that this isn't her first time explaining the divorce status. She reportedly did the same dance on The Breakfast Club back in May 2025, saying the process will get handled. A year plus later, and the framing is identical. The process is still processing. The griot took a softer angle, framing it as Claressa pushing back on a narrative, giving her the benefit of the doubt, highlighting that Papoose filed and that divorce takes time. But even they had to include the receipts about Remy accusing the pair of getting together while the marriage was still active, and Pap accusing Remy of infidelity with Easy the Block captain. So even the friendly coverage reads like a scoreboard where everybody's got mud on them. Meanwhile, the Shadow League went straight for the jugular with the money angle, framing it as Claressa hugging up on a married Papoose while he awaits hefty alimony payments, and dropping that reported $4 million net worth comparison showing Remy's worth more than the man Claressa's defending. That's a framing that stings, because it flips the whole power couple image into power woman and her dependent. Now some people are saying, and I see you all in the comments, that none of this proves Pap is broke, that net worth numbers are guesses, that a man laughing at candy prices is just a man laughing at candy prices. And sure, maybe in isolation. But remember those receipts from earlier? The alimony reports, the porn jewelry allegations, the cut short Canada trip, the 12 albums defense? Stack them together, and the "it's just jokes" argument collapses under its own weight. Here's why that doesn't hold up. One awkward moment is an accident, but a year of money-adjacent embarrassments is a pattern. Some Pap supporters are reaching trying to defend this, saying the blogs are just hating on a happy couple. But those are the same people who thought going public with a boxer's wife, a wife's boxer, while the divorce was still pending was a genius move. The media can spin this however they want. But the receipts don't lie, and every outlet from Complex to the Shadow League is circling the same truth. Pap's pockets are the story, no matter how loud Claressa talks over it. But here's what nobody is saying. Here's what nobody is talking about, and I'm about to say it with my whole chest. This story isn't actually about lollipops. It's not about Canada. It's not even really about Remy Ma. This is a masterclass in industry politics and psychological warfare. And the uncomfortable truth is that Claressa Shields, the greatest woman to ever lace up gloves, is being used as a human credibility loan for a man whose value collapsed the second he left Remy Ma's shadow. Here's the real story. Think about what Papoose's position was for 2 decades. He was respected, actually respected, as a lyricist, but commercially, he was the guy standing next to the star. Remy was the brand. The wedding special, the love and hip-hop platform, the couple brand deals, the black love machine, all of that ran through Remy. Pap's entire marketable identity was devoted husband of Remy Ma. So when that marriage imploded, Pap didn't just lose a wife, he lost his entire business model. And what does a man with no independent brand do? He finds the biggest, most loyal, most ride-or-die woman he can attach to, and he lets her fight for his reputation. He found a woman who literally fights for a living and outsources reputation management to her. Pap is a puppet of circumstance and is pulling Claressa's strings to keep his own relevance alive. And the psychological warfare part? Watch the pattern. Every time the broke narrative heats up, Claressa is the one who responds. Not Pap. She goes on the radio. She fires back at fans. She offers to fight Remy for $1. The same price as a blow pop that broke him, over a leaked phone number. Meanwhile, Pap sits back, lets her absorb every hit, and occasionally pops out for a birthday dinner or a walk to the ring. That is a manipulation pattern, whether he means it or not. Keep the loyal soldier on the front line while the general stays behind the wire. Pap is playing checkers while the internet is playing chess, and the board is his own bank account. Now here's the angle that'll really get me cooked in the comments. But it needs to be said. Claressa has talked openly about never getting the respect she deserves in boxing, about being overlooked despite being a two-time Olympic gold medalist, about how Pap was, in her words, the first to really pay her attention. That's vulnerability. And that's exactly the kind of opening a man scrambling to rebuild his identity needs. I'm not saying Pap doesn't love her. I'm saying the timing of finding a fiercely loyal, massively accomplished woman who craves recognition, right as your 20-year couple brand dies? That's either the luckiest coincidence in hip-hop history or the coldest rebranding strategy we've ever seen. And given that this man is allegedly stunned by $1 candy, I'm leaning towards strategy because broke men are very strategic about survival. Remember that radio answer we broke down? Here's the real reason she said that. Because SHE has to believe it. If Claressa admits the divorce isn't final, the money's funny, and the trips are budget, then she has to admit the entire relationship looks like a rebound rescue mission. Psychologically, she's pot committed. She's defended him too many times to fold now, and Pap knows it. Every defense she mounts raises the cost of her walking away, which means he gets to keep being broke in peace. That's the trap, and it's closing. And the alimony piece? That's the darkest layer of all. If reports are accurate that Pap stand to collect from a woman worth a reported $4 million more than him, then understand what this whole structure really is. The ex-wife's money funds a household, the new girlfriend's fame funds the image, and Pap contributes, what, exactly? 12 albums and a stunned face at the candy rack? Pap represents the OLD Stand By Your Man playbook, and is running it on a woman who could buy and sell his entire catalog before lunch. The industry needs stories like Pap's to stay quiet. Because as long as women like Claressa keep co-signing men like him, the machine keeps feeding on female loyalty and calling it love. And that's the truth they won't tell you. So what happens next? Alright, let's look forward. Because this situation has about 3 exits, and none of them favor Papoose. Scenario 1, the most likely outcome. The divorce finally finalizes, and that's when the real audit begins. When that paperwork gets signed, everybody's gonna see the financial terms in black and white. If those alimony reports are accurate, the internet is gonna have a field day watching a man collect from the woman he publicly accused of cheating, while his new girlfriend does interviews about loyalty. Mark my words, the day that divorce decree drops is a day Pap becomes a permanent meme, because you can't call a woman a liar and then cash her checks. And Claressa is gonna be standing next to him in every single one of those memes. When that happens, Pap will try to posture like he won something, but nobody's gonna care. The visual of the settlement will speak louder than any freestyle he could write. The silence from the culture will hurt Pap more than any diss track could, because hip-hop already decided. A battle rapper who answers bars with lawyers and lives off alimony is finished as a credibility story. Scenario TWO. The alternative path. Remy keeps applying pressure, and the music war escalates. She already showed on that WYFL record that her pen is loaded, and the support she pulled, Fat Joe, Memphis Bleak, Murder Mook, Me X, tells you the industry heavyweights are quietly standing behind her. If Remy drops again, Pap's gonna have to choose, respond with bars and risk exposing more of his situation, or stay quiet and confirm everything. He's not ready for what's coming if Remy takes this seriously, because she spent 8 years behind bars coming home to a comeback. Pressure doesn't scare that woman. It fuels her. And if Pap does try to respond on wax, he's gonna get destroyed, because he's got 20 years of ghostwriting claims and broke allegations to defend in 16 bars, and that's mathematically impossible. Either way, silence or response, he loses. Scenario 3, the wild card, the industry impact. Claressa's brand starts demanding an exit ramp. She keeps saying she views him as husband material, but here's what's coming. Sponsors, fight promoters, and broadcast partners are gonna start doing the math on whether the GWAT's legacy fights belong next to a running joke about $1 lollipops. When the next big fight negotiation happens, watch how the conversation shifts to distractions. If Claressa ever has to choose between the belt legacy and the boyfriend, and I believe that day is coming, Pap will get left faster than that Canada trip ended. 5 years from now, people will look back at this stretch as the moment Pap's relevance fully died, not with a diss track, but with a whimper, a porn bracelet, and a stunned face at a candy rack. He's watching the culture move on without him, and there's nothing he can do about it, Because every day that passes without the divorce finalizing, another day of that's not somebody's husband ages worse and worse. Whatever happens, one thing's clear. Pap already lost. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed uncovering the real story, smash that like button and hit subscribe so you never miss when we expose what everyone else is too scared to say. Ring that bell for notifications. And if you want more truth bombs like this, click on one of these videos next. Trust me, you'll want to see what we found. And by the way, tomorrow we're dropping something wild about Remy Ma's next move and why Papoose's legal team should be very nervous. You do not want to miss that.